Good evening. Welcome to the Writing Gals. We're four sweet romance authors talking about writing. And tonight we're going to focus on Facebook ads, which we're really excited about because we all want to learn more about them and how to do them. And Victorine and Amy have spent a lot of time and gotten to go to some classes recently where they have some great insights for us. But before we jump into that, let's catch up on what everybody's doing. Amy, what have you got going on?
Well, I just released the fourth book of my fake marriage series, Marrying a Prince. I kind of went wacky and decided to try everything else that I've never done before. And so I put up a pre-order for it last week on Monday, which normally I say if you're going to do a pre-order about a week in advance, just because that helps build your page and then it helps start getting you some sales. And I have done like a week pre-order before and had good results. So, but I also launched it at $2.99. So I've seen a lot of other sweet romance authors doing this where they launch it at $2.99 and then they have a one-day big sale and then it goes back to $2.99. So I will be doing that on the 30th. So if you want to watch what happens with that book, we'll see. I've got a lot of big newsletters and some promos going out on that day. So I'm pretty excited about it. And then I finished Rule Number 1, the first book of my YA series, and it's up for pre-order right now. And it's at my editor right now. And then I'm about halfway through Rule Number 2, which I switched, and it's no longer you can't fall for the school rebel. It's now you can't crush on your sworn rival or your sworn enemy. No, I think it's sworn enemy. It's not sworn rival. You can't crush on your sworn rival because that's kind of where the book took its turn. I was like writing it and I was like, this isn't really a school rebel story. So, and then once I finish that book, then I'm going to write the third one because I'm rapidly releasing them within 3 weeks of each other. But I'm headed to Tennessee tomorrow. So I will not be here. I'm going to try really hard to be here next week, but that's why we did it today because I was like, if you guys want me there, you're going to have to do it tonight. So that's why I look like I've been running around my house because I have packing my van and getting my kids ready.
Fun, though.
I couldn't do it on Thursday either, so it works out great. And I look like I just showered because I did just shower for the first time in 2 days. So we're all just, stay-at-home writers going crazy during the summertime. All right, Victorine, what have you got going?
All right. I have not written much since last time I talked to you guys. I have been visiting family and going to RWA and just having a blast, and my brain just can't write when I do all that stuff. I probably should force myself to write like in the evenings, but I was too tired. But I've just had a blast, and now I am back home and gearing up to get this book finished. I'm trying to finish that last billionaire book in the series. So that's my goal, is to get it done within the next, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 weeks. We'll see.
That's so exciting. I wish I could finish the series. So I just keep starting new ones. I am super excited though because I finished my mermaid book and I'm almost done with my first round of edits and it's going to beta readers tomorrow. So huge jump forward for me there. And I'm going to have to start working out my launch strategy for this book, which is going to be different because it's a different genre. And I'm going to try a few new things too. So we'll see how that pans out. Haven't really been doing anything else because sometimes when you got to finish something, that's all you can focus on. So that's what I've been up to, just strictly doing that. But I am going to be jumping into, like when I have writing time now, I'm going to be working on my Rockstar book. So that's really exciting. And I'm sporting a lovely shade of lipstick tonight that my 4-year-old helped me pick out before we got on. And I just wanted to point it out because it's darker than I usually wear, but she was determined. Yes, my 4-year-old has darker lipstick than me because I let her pick shades out at the Dollar Tree sometimes. So it's fun, and she was impressed with my eyeshadow palette, she said. So
well, you look fantastic.
It's just like I don't always get a lot of writing time done in the summer. I've been traveling, which I'm finally done with, but I brought it up because it's kind of fun to step back sometimes and say, you know what, I'm spending some good quality time with my family. And so for those of you out there who are like me and sometimes get frustrated when you're not able to get as much work done as you want, just stop and focus on the good things that are going on in your life. So, with that in mind, all of us want to know more about Facebook ads. But before we get into that, actually, I just remembered we got to talk about the Midwest Writers Conference put on by LDS Story, or just called Storymakers now, and Indie Author Hub. And it's less than 2 months away, guys. And early bird registration is over, but now you just gotta hurry up and get on there so so they don't fill up. I mean, I don't know if they've got a certain number they can take. A lot of conferences do though. So go on there and sign up if you want to go, because we're all going to be teaching. The three of us are going to be teaching 2 classes each, and we are going to try to get together with all of our Writing Gal people who come to the conference. And we are also looking forward to, in April, having some fun times ahead that we're looking forward to making a good announcement about. We can't share details yet, but things are cooking, guys. So look forward to April next year. And before we get going, also, Judy's not here with us tonight. As you can see, I'm stating the obvious, but we're all really sad, but she's having fun fleeing from Bison with her family on vacation. Maybe she'll tell us the story when she's back on here with us again. Okay, so let's jump into Facebook ads. And we have a question from Carol, who wants to know if they work. And that's a good question to start with, right? So she's heard that they're a waste of money. So who wants to jump in and answer her question?
All right. Well, I can go first. I think that depending on what you're doing, you can waste your money on Facebook ads, or if you know what you're doing, if you're targeting your audience correctly, they can really work for you. But in the past, what I have done is just kind of stumbled through putting up an ad and kind of stumbled through guessing who my audience might be, and, kind of threw something up and just tried to see if it would stick to the wall, right? Throwing spaghetti at the wall. And if it didn't work, I would take it down and redo everything.
Victory, we're losing you.
Doing it? What'd you say?
We lost you for
am
a
I?
minute.
Am I cutting out? I'm sorry. My internet's going wonky tonight, so hopefully I don't totally lose you.
Yeah, because you're the one with all the new information.
YouTube's way of saying, all right, Victorine, you're done talking now.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
So you're working okay. You want to try repeating the last half of what you said?
All right. So I think through targeting your ads specifically to your audience, you can really make them work. I went to RWA, as you all know, and I sat in a class taught by, let me think of her name. Her name is Sky Warren. That's her pen name. And last year she spent $100,000 on Facebook ads, but she made $800,000 in book sales. So I would say yes, Facebook ads can work for you. You just have to know what you're doing.
And then I would say I'd add to that my personal experience. So when I published my YA urban fantasy last year, I kind of did okay the first month, and then my sales started going down and down and down. And then I did a free day, but I think it had to do with the fact that it just wasn't written to market. Nothing really happened there. And I remember thinking, it's kind of naive of me to think that I can just put a book out and it's going to sell and I'm not going to have to work at selling it at all. I mean, if you think of the just sheer number of people in America alone, not to mention, other English-speaking countries because my book is not published in other languages yet. Maybe someday it will be, but not at the moment. The amount of people there are and how much there is that they're getting bombarded with, that just thinking you could just put it up and not do anything is just kind of naive and ridiculous. So I knew I was going to start writing to market. So last August, I was like, I need to figure out Facebook ads and I need to figure out how to make them work for me. So, and I've talked about this before. I said, okay, I'm going to put a Facebook ad on my books. It was called Cinderheart last year. It's been changed since then. I'm going to put an ad on that, and as long as I break even, then I'll be fine, and I'll keep the ad running. And I remember I went on vacation, and we would get to internet, and I'd be like, okay, what's my rank? Where's my sales? And how much have I spent? And I'd like monitor that super close. And I'd say, okay, I spent $20, but I made $20. So we're good. I'm going to keep the ad running. And there was times where I'd be like, oh, I don't know, I'm going to turn it off. And then, I'd get a sale or two in, and then I would keep it on. So I think Facebook is very happy to spend your money, which is the nice part about Facebook. It's very instantaneous in getting information back to you. You get to know right away if it's getting impressions, if you're getting clicks. It's not like AMS ads where it's like, I don't know, who knows? Maybe in 2 weeks we'll show you got a sale on this. So it's much quicker, but they're much quicker to spend the money. Now, if you guys are going to try Facebook ads, I should note that there are certain increments that they will automatically bill you. So it's not a bill you at the end of the month type of thing. It will bill you, I think, the first $200 you spend, then $500, and then $750, and then $1,000. And I think after that, it caps at $1,000. So if you put an ad on your book and you hit that 250 on the 15th, it will automatically take that money out, and then it won't bill you again to the end of the month. So it's always on these increments and then at the end of the month. And I don't know why they do that, but I'm just telling you that now because my personal experience, I didn't know that. And they took my money out and I overdrafted. So be very aware of, one, how much your ads are spending. So going in and seeing where your billing history is, and then seeing where you fall in that increment. Because once you hit one increment for a month, the next month you go up. So if you hit the $500 and then they bill you and then they bill you again at the end of the month, the next month it goes up higher to that $750.
Well, I think you can change that, Amy, because I went in and told it just take the money out every $100 because I don't like those big ones coming out. So
Okay.
it just every $100 when I hit it, it just takes it out. So I think you can set that.
It's just how they that was, I didn't even know. So I think that might just be the basic one that Facebook does for you. And I wonder if it's just because they do spend money so fast that they want to make sure people have money to pay them. So they're not going to, so if they try to take that $750 out and then they don't get paid, they're going to cut your ad off instead of letting your ad keep going until the end of the month. So that might be just the basic, one that Facebook sets up for you, and then you can change it, which is, I'm sure. And I think it's kind of like a credit, because if you think about it, they are giving you a credit, then billing you afterwards. So just be very aware and always monitor how much you've spent for the month and keep an eye on where you're at, because it's very easy to Facebook to spend your money. So after August, after I did that, then I started putting Facebook ads on my first billionaire book. I put Facebook ads on it, and that's how I got my first 53 or so pre-orders, because I just had Facebook ads on it. And then I was running Facebook ads pretty consistently for the next couple of months. I remember, I spent $4,000 on Facebook ads last year. So it was big, but I was making money. I was definitely not keeping Facebook ads on and thinking, oh yeah, sure, maybe. I find Facebook ads do well for me when I have launched my first book. Because it's priced at 99 cents. I think people click through and they're more willing to buy it. So it helps keep my book up higher in rank. As soon as I change it to $2.99, I get a little more panicky, because then I see that not as much as quick as a return, So I'm kind of excited to learn some tricks from Victorine. And I've done Mark Dawson's course, and I went through it, and then I actually returned it because I was like, I really didn't learn anything I didn't already know how to do, because I've been studying Facebook ads since last August and trying to find as much research, but there's really not a lot. There's ads, there's shows out there that will tell you how to do it, and Victorine's going to talk about that. But I think once you get the basics on how, you're still kind of like, I don't know. Is this a good ad? Is it not a good ad? How do I know? How do I decide? How do I figure all of this? I mean, because Facebook will give you so much information where it's almost like, I don't know how to interpret all that information. So, in a long-winded. Yes, Facebook ads work. They are one of the most, I think that's how Facebook makes most of their money, is through Facebook ads. The only downside is Facebook ads. People aren't there to buy necessarily, but I think as a culture, we're getting used to it. Because I mean, I know myself, I'm scrolling through and I'm like, oh, that's a really cute, I have a daughter, so that's a really cute dress. I'm gonna click on it and see how much it is. So I think we are getting used to that type of thing than before.
So as I was looking around doing some research so that I could contribute something to this podcast tonight, because my experience with Facebook ads is so far limited, I saw a lot of things saying that there are going to be authors for whom Facebook is not going to work. It's just there are going to be some genres that don't sell well, and if you have a standalone book, Facebook's probably not going to be your best answer. It depends on the price point you're trying to sell your book at. So Facebook ads, from what I have seen doing some research, work best for series, and they work best for books priced free to $3.99. Books over that don't tend to get a lot of clicks, and I think they work well for Kindle Unlimited, and then they work good, I think, for genres like romance, fantasy, and even sci-fi. But I think if you start going into like women's fiction and some of the things like nonfiction sells really well with Facebook ads. But some of the smaller genres that already struggle with readership are also going to struggle to have successful Facebook ads. So I think that those are all things that you need to take into account when you're deciding. Give it a try, see what you can do, but it might not be the best venue for you. So I think that that's one thing that I wanted to say, is that it is possible to be successful, and there's a lot here to learn. And a lot of people have a lot of success, but there are a lot of people out there saying that they don't have success. And you really got to drill down and figure out if you can find why they aren't having success, or why you aren't having success, because there are so many factors in this. And also the reporting is difficult. It's hard to know whether or not direct sales are coming from it. And so, a lot of people have associate accounts that they can use, and that's not available in all states, including mine. And so, some of us are also at disadvantages in that way, and being able to, try and discover how many direct sales you're actually getting. But I will say, it's an old marketing thing that exposure is exposure, and sometimes even if you're not getting the direct sales, or you're not making money on the direct sales, because it's like a 35-cent royalty you're getting, and you have to take out the amount you actually spent on the ad to get them there. You end up making maybe a few cents depending on what you spend on it. But the quality or the value of having someone be exposed to your book in a positive way can be more valuable than just the money that you may make on a sale. And that's something I think that I want to touch on during one of our questions down the road. So let's move on to how hard is it to set one up if you're new to this, if you've never done it before. And I'll tell you, it's really easy if you have Amy as a friend and you can just say, hey, Amy, walk me through this. So that's what I did. But we're going to try and help you out with some good information here so you can do it on your own.
I would say, yeah, technically, it's not super difficult to set one up, but you really kind of need someone to walk you through it. And that just kind of leads into the next thing we're going to talk about, is how do you figure it out? And I would say I would watch a YouTube video on how to do it. There's a bunch of them out there, and I did some research on how to set up an ad and find a video that tells you. And my favorite one that I found is from a guy named Kevin David. His video is called Facebook Ads in 2018. And a lot of the videos I found were from older versions of Facebook ads. And so as they were walking you through it, the screen looked different than what it does now. And that's not helpful to me because I need the same visual if I'm going to set that up. And so his video, it's kind of long, but he gives some really great information. So I would say if you're going to try this, I wouldn't try it half-heartedly. I would go with full gusto and say, okay, I am going to give this a really good shot, and I'm going to learn what I need to learn in order to be successful at this, rather than just kind of tossing something up like I was doing and saying, all right, let's see if this works. Oh, after a day or two, no, it's not getting clicks. I'll toss something else up. You know, that's not really going to help you as much unless you really learn what you're doing. So go watch Kevin David's video on Facebook ads in 2018, and he will walk you through and tell you each step what you need to do. But he does talk a lot.
Well, and
So it's a long video.
And I'd add to, since you say not only watch something that is current so that the screen looks alike, but also strategies are always changing and Facebook is always changing. And if you're watching this podcast a year from now, who knows what Facebook has decided to do. And so you always need to be checking something that is the most current that you can get.
Yes, I agree. So sorry, I kind of answered 2 questions in one.
That's okay. We'll get through the podcast faster. Oh no, does Amy freeze?
Am I cutting out for you guys? You guys are cutting out for me, so I don't know if it's me or you or.
Oh, you cut out just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Am I cutting out for you too, Amy?
Yeah, you both are. How are we looking on the YouTube video? Did someone check that?
I would check it.
Pause for technical difficulties.
Is that what it says? Oh no. Okay. Then I will talk until they tell me not to. For me, the biggest thing I would say is organize yourself, because you're going to run a lot of ads. You're going to want to know at a glance what exactly that ad is and what it's doing for you. That is something I didn't do when I first started running Facebook ads. And so it got confusing for me to look and know exactly what an ad was doing. And I think that goes across to Amazon ads too. Know dates, know what if you're using an associate link, what link goes with that, what type of ad copy you wrote for that. So if you're doing a beta and alpha test, you need to know exactly at a glance, oh, okay, what does this mean? So in terms of Facebook ads, and once you get in there and start, creating your links or you're creating your things, how I personally do it is I set up the campaign would be the name of the book. So if you go to the campaign tab, I just have Marrying a Prince, my box set, Marrying a Billionaire, and then you go to your ad set, which would be your people. And so that's when I would put Marrying a Prince. And then I have a group that I have that is called my tried and true, that I know works and gets me sales. So I put them on, and then your ad copy, or let me make sure I'm using the right words here, or just your ads. So then that's when you would break it down. So if I'm going to run an alpha and a beta test for Marrying a Prince, I wouldn't want to just start a new campaign. I would want to run that in my Marrying a Prince campaign. And you can change your ad sets in there. And this is all stuff people will talk to you about when you get there. But once you get to that point, just think in your mind, I'm going to have ads that I'm running, and I need to be able to look at it and know exactly what I'm dealing with for that ad, instead of having ads here and ads there and you're not sure and what's going on. And for me, I'm almost to the point where I'm I need to write a spreadsheet down where I'm okay, what is this ad and what's the ad copy that I used for it? So just come up with a way that you can know exactly, without even clicking on the ad and seeing the ad copy and the image, you know exactly what is in that ad. And I think that goes for everything. And also how long the ad's been running. So I always date mine as well. That would probably be my biggest advice for when you set up your ad. Oh, and then when I started looking into Facebook ads, I got Michael Cooper's Help My Facebook Ads Suck book. And I found it on 20 books to 50K. And that was really, really helpful. He walks you through it. And this is a little plug for 20 books to 50K. If you're not part of that group, then I don't know where you are, because there's like 25,000 people over there. But be a part of that group, because if you just search in the search tab Facebook ads, you will get tons of people who have posted and talked. Michael Cooper's on there, so if you have any questions, you could just tag him in it. They're really friendly over there. And Mark Dawson will he's on that end too. And if you just tag him and say, I got a question, he'll answer you. And he's kind of the Facebook, he's the marketing guru, but he's makes tons. And I mean, I don't know how much money he makes, but he makes a lot of money, but he spends a lot of money. Facebook gave him a person that contacted him, is like, I'm going to be your Facebook ad liaison person. So he's got like someone from Facebook that he talks to and,
Wow.
and like gives information or tells him how to make things better and stuff like that. Cause he's like, I spend a lot of money.
Well, we're glad to have somebody like that sharing what he learns then, huh? That's awesome.
It's
So
kind
shall
of interesting when he says something, you kind of got to sit back and listen, because he's the Gordon Ramsay of Facebook and marketing. So
awesome. So hey, who wants to talk about Facebook Pixel? Because I'm really curious about this one.
All right, I can talk about it because I learned this just recently. Mark Dawson in his class said you need to have a Facebook pixel on your website. And I didn't know what that was, so I Googled and figured out what exactly that is. So have you ever gone searching for a product online and you're looking at, I don't know, a new toaster because your toaster broke this morning, and then you get on Facebook and all of a sudden there's this ad for a toaster in your sidebar and you're like, how does Facebook know I just broke my toaster? Well, it's one of those pixels is how they know. It's just a little piece of code that you get from Facebook and you install it on your website. And if you don't know how to do that, because I didn't know how to put it on WordPress, I just Googled how to install Facebook Pixel on my WordPress website. And I came up with a how-to website that walked me through it. So all you do is you just copy and paste this little piece of code onto your website. And what that does is anytime someone visits your website, yeah, this is kind of creepy, but Facebook will, if they have a Facebook account, Facebook will know who they are and they will keep that information for you. And so they can track who has visited your website through that little Facebook pixel, and you can start advertising to the people who are directly interested in your books because they have visited your website. And this is your audience. I mean, how much warmer of an audience do you get than people who have actually visited your website?
Yeah, looks like Victorine froze for just a second. So I was actually going to jump in because something I saw about this is that one of the best ways to sell on Facebook is to be able to sell to a warm audience. So she's talking about the difference between a cold audience and a warm audience. And a cold audience is someone who's never heard of you or seen you before. And a warm audience is somebody who is at different levels of getting to know you, getting to like you, getting to follow you, and getting to be like a lifelong friend. And so you're trying to build somebody's rapport with you across their experience. And so that's one of the things that I saw when I saw Facebook Pixel, because it was somebody saying, maybe consider not even trying to use Facebook ads to sell your books. Use Facebook ads to introduce yourself to other people and start building your audience and letting people know who you are. And then you can sell other things. So maybe you sell your blog post, or you're using your ad to promote, a freebie that you give away with your newsletter, or just trying to get people over to your website for some interesting reason, because that is somebody who then recognizes you or knows who you are, has been introduced, and it's a lot easier to sell to them down the road. So when you can use that audience, then you can go in and use that audience to do the, hey, buy my book kind of ads.
Yes, exactly. I think we've all heard that it takes like 7 times of looking at something before you actually buy it. This is just one of those 7 times that you can reintroduce yourself to somebody who may have been interested and went and looked at your website and then maybe didn't buy anything. But you can keep that audience in the forefront. You can keep your book in front of them.
Well, and I think also too, when you do a Facebook ad, you have to have an author page. And one of the benefits of having a Facebook ad is that people will like your author page. I think most of the people who liked my author page have come from my Facebook ads. And then that can in turn make it, your presence on Facebook even more. You're getting a group of people who have voluntarily been there instead of, I see a lot of groups who are like my Facebook author page. And then you get random people who wouldn't even buy your books or aren't really interested in who you are. They're just liking you to get liked back. So this is much more, I think, effective. However, I don't know if Mark Dawson talked about this, but using Facebook ads to get newsletter subscribers, I'm not a big fan of that. I think it costs a lot more money. He's like, oh, I spend $1 per click or $1 per email. And I just am not a big fan of something like that. I don't like doing that myself on Facebook, but it is a way you can get newsletter subscribers. He swears by it, but I would just rather have people who already have my book and who will subscribe through clicking through and getting my reader magnet.
So this is something that I saw today that had me kind of excited, because I think all of us had these author pages for a little while, and then we're like, well, that was a waste of time because of the way Facebook changed everything. But what you can actually do is use your Facebook author page to create traffic to your website, but your ad can send them to your Facebook author page, if that makes sense. And from your author page, maybe have something that engages them to send them to your website. Anyways, the purpose of doing that is that Facebook likes to keep people on Facebook. They don't like to send people to YouTube. They don't like to send them to your website. They don't like to send people to your Amazon. They'll do it, but you have to pay them for the privilege. So that you pay a lot less if you're sending people to another page on Facebook, if that makes sense. And so an ad that sends people to your Facebook author page is going to cost you less money, like significantly less money, than an ad that sends them elsewhere. So that's where you might be able to start building the audience, and there might be better ways. And I really want to spend some time looking into this and going ahead and maybe using my Facebook author page audience a little bit in the future, if that's something that might actually work out. Because right now I feel like it's kind of like poor lost souls who clicked like on my author page. Like there's nothing here for you. So I don't know, maybe it might be a way to spend a little bit of money on Facebook and engage those people again, because they are a warm audience. It's somebody who is interested enough in me to like my page. So to figure out a way to utilize them somehow might be worth more investment than a cold audience to an ad. I don't know, there's a whole lot of questions here. But we did have a question that is applicable to this topic right now, so I thought I'd go ahead and bring it up, because Kristen wants to know if you can install Facebook Pixel on a WordPress website that isn't monetized. Do you guys know anything about that yet, or is this just like a new thing we're learning about?
I know you're very limited in what you can install on a website that you don't own, like a WordPress.com, rather than having your own host and hosting your own WordPress site. So I kind of want to say I don't think you can, but I don't know for sure. The way that I did it on mine is I had to install a plugin. The plugin allowed me to add code to my header and footer. So it was something like header and footer plugin, something like that. And it allowed me to add that code in to the header of my website. But I think you're really limited on what you can install on one of those, one of the free WordPress websites. So I don't know.
I just saw you already answered her, but I thought that might be something that, a lot of people might want to catch when they're watching the podcast back later. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about audiences, which I think is a very important topic here. What is a custom audience and what is a lookalike audience?
All right. Well, I can talk a little bit about that because I've learned recently what that is. Mark Dawson did a great job of talking about how he utilizes his custom audience. So with Facebook, it's really cool because you can go take all your emails from your mailing list and you can put them in Facebook and you can say, this is my custom audience, right? And so basically you're taking, I have like 3,500 people on my mailing list. I can take that and put them in my Facebook and tell Facebook that I want to advertise to these people because I don't get 100% opens when I send out an email. And, out of all those people that have joined my mailing list, if I have a new book and I send out an announcement, I get a certain percentage of people buying, but it's a pretty low percentage. So what Mark said was he will go in and he will create this audience of people that are subscribed to him, and they are a very warm audience, right? Because they have subscribed to his newsletter and really like his books. And so he will advertise his newest book on Facebook to them, because how many people just tossed their emails because they had 100 of them that day and they couldn't go through them all, right? And so this is just another way to reach your audience, people who are specifically interested in what you have. Another thing you can do on Facebook, which is awesome, is create a lookalike audience. So you can take your mailing list, you can import it into Facebook, and then you can tell Facebook, I want you to create a larger audience that looks just like my audience of subscribers. So Facebook knows what all these people, what they've clicked on, what they like, what their income level is, where they live, all that creepy stuff that you don't want Facebook to know. Well, they know all this stuff. And so they can create a much larger audience that looks just like the people that you are your subscribers. And you can advertise to this lookalike audience, which is super powerful for us as authors, because especially if we're indie authors and we write in a niche genre, difficult to find mega bestseller authors, that we can say, I want to people who like these other authors. Well, they're able to come from your subscribers.
And
So cool.
That's awesome if you have a big newsletter. I did a lookalike audience a couple months previously, and I didn't get as well of or as good of clicks because I had a very small newsletter. I think I had like 750 at the time or less than that. And Mark Dawson does recommend you have a bigger audience just because you want to give Facebook as much information as possible to do. So those are awesome. And I think that's a really awesome tool that I'm actually going to use because I'm like, hey, I have a bigger newsletter now. I'm definitely going to market to them when I release a new book. Another thing, so let's say you don't have a big audience, like a newsletter to get a lookalike audience off of. The other thing that Michael Cooper talked about is when he creates an ad, what he'll do is he'll market it first to his newsletter people, because the more likes, comments, shares you get on a Facebook ad, the more Facebook goes, oh, people want to see this, they'll show it more and they'll make it cheaper for you. So even if you get people who maybe troll you and say, oh yeah, this is a stupid book, I hate it, leave a comment, because a comment is good or bad. Facebook likes it. This is saying, hey, this is engaging. Hey, this is well. And it makes me think of, I don't know if you guys have been on Facebook. Have you seen the ad for that lady who's wearing those that hot pink jumper with the thing and like the gaucho pants and like really interesting comments on it? But think of how far that has gone because of the likes and the shares and the comments. And nobody was commenting they were going to buy it.
That is so funny because I was literally showing people, like, have you seen how ridiculous this is?
Yes, but think of how much it has grown and blown up for that one boutique that sold it, how much traffic they're going to get and how much visibility. So if somebody comments something negative on your Facebook ad, that does not make it bad. Leave it. There are probably going to be people that are going to be like, oh, you're stupid, stop talking and go away. You shouldn't be on here. So leave it those things. But also I try to help other people out. So when I see Facebook ads and I enjoy it, I always share it or comment or like, do one of those things because any of those things are positive. Michael Cooper also has on 20 Books to 50K, he because when you restart, anytime Facebook ads are not like Amazon ads. If you change anything on it, it will restart your relevancy. So you'll get a relevancy score from Facebook, and they say you want to be anywhere. It's on a scale from 1 to 10. You want to be anywhere from 8, 9, or 10 relevancy score, which means people are seeing this ad, people are clicking on it, people are following through with whatever you're asking them to do. What they don't want to do is have a relevancy score of like 1, 2, or 3. That means you're trying to sell Barbies to bikers. Like, it's just not going to work. They're not going to click. And then Facebook's going to say, we don't want to annoy our Facebook people, so we are not going to show your ad as much. And in order for us to show your ad, you're going to have to pay us a lot of money. Is basically how it works. So you want to keep your relevancy score 8, 9, or 10, 10 obviously being the best. And if you're at a 10 relevancy score, the amount you're paying per click is a lot less. So you want to be in that higher end. But you also want to be very careful on how you change your Facebook ads, because if you go and you have a one that's a relevancy score of 10 and you make a change on your ad copy or your photo, that can skew your relevancy score and you might have to start all over again. So there's ways of changing things. If you go on there, Michael Cooper talks about how you can actually use the same ad, maybe for a different audience, but then you'll keep your relevancy score as you move it over instead of losing all of that. And when I do stuff, I don't really care. I'm like, whatever, I'll just make the change and I'll just start all over again. But if you have an ad that's running and cooking really, really well, you want to be very careful that you don't start moving things around or changing anything, because then that can upset the relevancy. But anyways, moving back to audiences. So with us as sweet romance authors, it's hard to be like, we're not Debbie Macumber. We don't have Nora Roberts, and we don't have what is his name? He has all the movies.
It's Nicholas Sparks.
Sparks.
Yeah, we're not Nicholas Sparks, because Nicholas Sparks is technically not tragedies. What are they? Tragedies? Some of them are suspense. Some of them,
Love story.
Drama.
You can definitely target Nicholas Sparks. So when I was going to do audiences, I was like, who do I market to? So then I just started thinking of people who like sweet romance and what their behaviors are. What is something they're going to like? They're going to like love stories. Some of them are going to be religious. So I target to people who have religions, because that plays a big part in what you read and watch is your religion. And then there's actually a sweet romance category you can target people at. So I just started thinking of all the things. And nice thing about Facebook is if you have 3 or 4 like audiences to ask, they'll start suggesting audiences for you. So I love to look through that. There'll be authors that I didn't even know. So you can just click on suggestions and then it'll pull it up, and you can start, make sure that they're relevant, but you can start clicking on those sorts of things. And then and Victorine can tell you what that Mark Dawson she does, but for me, I narrow the audience even more. So once I get a big audience, I narrow it down to people who like ebooks. Now, people will tell you, oh, they'll do just Kindle if you're exclusive to Kindle, but I have started to learn anybody can download a Kindle app. You don't actually have to have a Kindle, and most people read on their phones. So if you do ebooks, you get a much broader people. And I'm like, well, somebody sees my book and they really want it. All they have to do is download the Kindle app. Bam, they're going to get it. Everybody has an Amazon account. I mean, if you don't have an Amazon account, you're like in the minority of people. So all they have to do is buy your book, download the Kindle app, and they're off and running. So I don't go that low, because I've noticed I get the same amount of clicks, but I get a bigger audience, a bigger pool to fish out of if I do that. And I would say you normally want about 500,000 to higher for your audience. You don't want to be too narrow either. So That's how for my sweet romance, that's how I do it. If you write something else, this comes back to knowing your genre, knowing other people in your who are the big dogs, and then obviously marketing to them. But then also realizing that other people might be marketing to their audiences as well. So it might be better to actually narrow it down and get maybe some of the not as well known authors. But I'm not sure how it works in terms of like Amazon. The more people trying to market it, the more expensive it is for you, or you have to bid higher. I'm not sure how it works with Facebook in terms of something like that.
There's so many things we don't know yet, aren't there? Like
Mm-mm.
we could just keep learning forever.
Yeah.
So, but I know something you are good at, Amy. How do you come up with a headline that hooks people?
Well, one of the great things about Facebook is that if you start liking things, they'll start showing more of it to you. So I like to find authors who are being shown to me, and I like it. And I actually, for a while, was taking screenshots and figuring that out. And you're so funny, Michelle, because you are just as awesome at this as I am. You come up with amazing taglines.
Thank you.
So I think there's lots of different things people say you can do. You can, and this is what's cool about Michael Cooper, and this is how testing comes in. So there's some people who give a synopsis of their book. Do you take your blurb from Amazon and put it on there? Sure, try it out, see if it works. I do normally a condensed version. I have done a blurb or a section from my book that I really thought was cute and put it up there. That's done well for me. So there's three parts to the Facebook ad. So there's the chunk, there's the picture. The picture is the most important. That's the thing that people are going to see. That's going to stop them from scrolling. Because if you think of how much Facebook has text compared to pictures, is way more text. That it's very text heavy and very black and white. So I always go, I don't do my cover. I don't do anything that has my cover in it. I just go to the stock images that they provide you on Facebook and I pick from there. And then normally what I do is I pick something that has yellow, red, or orange, something that's going to pop against everything else. And normally it's just like a pop of color. Or I've also noticed what does really well is a lot of white space. So if you find a picture, for me, it was for brides. So there's a lot of picture where the bride's off to the side or the groom and the bride are off to the side, and then it's all white space. I've noticed that image does really well too, because it's such a contrast to Facebook in general. So if you're scrolling and scrolling, you got all this text and text and text. To have like a chunk of white space draws your attention to it, because like, whoa, what is this? What happened to everything else? So the first is the image, and make sure your image has something to do with your book. So once they click over, they're not confused. Like, oh, wait a minute, I clicked on a picture of a bride, but it's like an alien story. That's going to confuse people. So make sure it's very similar over there, back and forth. And then there is the line underneath it that they bold in, and normally you want to keep it short and sweet. And you can do, for my, my meet Gabriella, AKA Cinderella. So something like that was like, whoa, what? Wait, something that's going to make them wonder. Or I've done fall in love with these billionaires today, or, swoon-worthy kisses and toe curling kisses and swoon-worthy men. Like something that's gonna, like, one sentence to explain your book, or one sentence to really pop or give the person looking at it something interesting. And then there's the information up above, where that's where you can put more information. Michael, there's really no limit to how much you can have on there. So Michael Cooper said he did like a page full of text from his book, to kind of give people a taste. Or you could do just a small synopsis. You could do one or two or sentences. I think I did, from Marrying a Cowboy, it was, she's the perpetual bridesmaid trying to avoid all the matchmaker. He must marry to inherit his ranch. They never figured the love they would find, or something like that. And then I always try and add like an action thing. So grab your copy today, or and I kind of played around with, do I say it's a book or not? Most people, they don't. I think they like ebooks and stuff, and they've seen and they're getting used to seeing these kinds of ads. I think that they can surmise that it's probably a book. But I try to stay away from, besides free and KU, I try and stay away from saying a price, because what if you get a good ad, and what if it's doing amazing things for you and you change it? Now you're gonna have to change that whole ad. And I noticed people don't really care. They're gonna click, they want to know, and they're gonna be okay with spending if they do spend. So I try to just stay away, and it never made a difference. I didn't get more clicks if I said on sale now for 99 cents. It didn't up the amount of clicks that I got. So I just keep that off. And then below the bolded words, below that, you can put a little sentence too. And that's normally if I'll do like free in KU or grab your copy today or something like that. So that's how I figure out my ad copy. I think the biggest takeaway you can take from today, and I feel like I'm talking a lot, but I don't think Victorine's unfrozen yet. So the biggest thing you can take away is try. Facebook will spend your money, but every ad you run, your audience gets better, your ad copy gets better, you learn what the audience likes, and you're going to learn so much that is going to be so valuable to you as an author, because you're not just an author of one book. You're an author of a lot of books from now until you stop writing. And so you're going to want to know and take everything you learn from these Facebook ads, and you can put it into your next ad and put it into your next ad.
So am I still frozen?
No, you're back.
Okay, good. I just want to build on what Amy said. I agree completely with it, what she said, and testing. Mark Dawson said it, and so did Sky Warren. In Sky Warren's class, she said something brilliant that got me all excited about testing my ads. What her idea is to take your ad and duplicate it 6 times, only changing one thing per ad. So if you want to start, just change your picture and have everything else the same, and run that for a few days and see which ad is performing the best for you. Take the best performing ad, trash the rest, and then duplicate that 6 times and change something else. So just change the headline part and play around with your ad, with your nice little 5-word headline, and come up with 6 different ones and try all of them out and see which one performs the best. And then after a few days, you can trash the rest, take the best performing one, change the ad copy, try a blurb, try something from, an excerpt from your book, try different things and see which one performs the best, and just keep doing that over and over until you have a really well performing ad. And I thought that is brilliant, because everybody says test, but they don't really say how to do it methodically. And for me, that was a huge takeaway from the conference. I just love that idea.
So when you're saying test, though, you're saying test that one audience. So if you were to change your audience, then you would do that. You would run that test all over again. You would start with the pictures.
Well, you would use audience as one of the things that you would change 6 times. So keep what's been working, but then change your audience in each ad, right? So use your audience as one of the things you test. And then the audience that performs the best, then again, you can go with that one. And then if you still feel like you're underperforming, you can again change your picture, you can again change your blurb. It's those 3 things that you're testing out, and you want to just change one thing so that okay, so I know specifically this one is performing the best.
So let's say you get an audience that's performing well, you get an ad that's performing well. The thing that you said, and I agree with, is Facebook is scalable. So why don't you give us some idea of, once you've reached this point, how do you what is the standard for increasing?
I would say just start increasing your bid and see if that translates into the increase of sales for you. Because if you're spending $10 a day and your book is making $50 a day, then it stands to reason that you should be able to spend $20 a day, and then your book should increase in sales to maybe $100 a day. And if you're seeing that scalability, I would do it slowly. You don't want to say, oh, this one's fantastic, I'm going to put it at $1,000 a day. Do it, up it slowly, but watch your sales. If they're continuing to grow, there is no reason why you shouldn't keep scaling that up.
Well, and I think it's also important that you should not panic. I mean, first of all, make sure you have the money. So don't play with money you don't have, but give it time. Because I was talking to Victorine last night. I was like, all right, I'm going to start some Facebook ads. You're motivating me to do it again. And she was like, well, I have, because we're starting out with the pictures. And she's like, well, I have an ad, or I have a picture that's doing amazing tonight. And then today when we were messaging each other, she's like, yeah, that one's not doing so well anymore. So give it time. I would say either A, wait till you get that relevancy score from Facebook, because Facebook will tell you what it's doing. And I think you have to get 500 impressions before you get a relevancy score. Wait for that, or give it at least 24 to 48 hours before you turn things off, because you could turn off an ad that's doing really well. And first Facebook's got to figure its own thing out. So it'll say, yeah, you just had one click and it cost you $1.50. And then you're like, wait a minute, whoa, it's going to go way too fast. But it'll kind of balance itself out, and you won't. I'm not sure how Facebook bills, but eventually, if you give it 24 hours, you're going to come back to it and it's going to say, oh no, price per click now is only 10 cents, or it's only 15 cents. And I think Mark Dawson has said 30 cents or less is a good cost per click. I don't like being that high. I like to be 20 cents. That's even still too high. I like to be about 15 and below cost per click. So you're going to want to play around with that, but don't panic. Don't all of a sudden say, okay, no, I got to turn it off because I'm going to spend way too much money, because it will balance itself out. Now, if it's 28 or 24 hours later and you're still costing about $1 per click, then I would say, okay, I've done something wrong. Let's figure this out. Facebook is really cool though, because it will give you tips and tricks. So they'll message you and say, hey, your ad's doing better in this age group. Your cost per click is less in this age group. So then you can actually go in and tweak that age group so you can be, and I think for me, it's 45 and older. I get that. But since I don't really spend that much per cost per click, I'm like, you're talking 9 cents to 13 cents. I'm like, I'm okay with the 4 extra cents and getting that other younger audience as well. So Facebook will tell you where, in what graphic your ad is doing better in. And then just to let you know so that you can make a good idea of how to change it, or if you want to change it.
And if you're trying out new and different audiences, Facebook has this awesome tool called Audience Insights, and it's kind of hidden, and I had to go looking for it. But if you are in the ad creation part, or you're looking at your ads and how well they're performing, way up in the corner, you've got that drop-down menu with all those tools. So you drop down and go to tools, and one of the tools you have in that panel is called Audience Insights. And what you can do is you can go in and you can type in like Nora Roberts, and it will tell you the age range of the people who like Nora Roberts. It'll tell you a ton of information about that audience. So you can go in and you can look at the audience you're targeting. So you can see, okay, most of these people are actually 65 plus, and I wasn't targeting to that age group. And so you can get an idea of different audiences by going in and looking at the audience insights, which is really awesome.
That's awesome. I skipped over that question, so I'm glad you found a good way to bring that up, because that sounds super helpful. So what should we do if our Facebook ad is getting clicks, but we're not getting any sales?
So Mark talked about this in his class. He said if you're getting a lot of clicks, but you're not getting a lot of sales, then you need to look at your page for your book and look at, okay, am I targeting the right person for that book cover? Do I need to change my book cover? Is my copy, my description of my book written well enough? You need to look at that actual sales page, because you're getting some people, some traffic over there, but you're not getting the next step that they need to buy that book. So you need to change something on your Facebook page if that's happening.
Awesome. Yeah, if that's, where it comes down a lot to where we talk about marketing your book. You're getting your audience there, and then where are you losing them? So, and there's a lot of different points there that can happen. So
I think that comes down to what we talked about earlier, where it was make sure that your ad copy cover picture matches your book or a similar feeling, because you can really throw people off. And this kind of comes with like you come up what's a good image. So for me, it's easy because I write a picture of a couple that are bride and groom kissing or something like that works really well for the ad copy picture that I put up on Facebook, because it translates well. But let's say you have something that's more like women's fiction, and I was helping my PA with some Facebook ad things, and we were talking, and she was like, well, I'm not really sure what image to use. And I was like, so let's say you write women's fiction like Debbie Macumber, and you say, well, my book is like her and I'm going to target her audience. So what I would do is look at her books, look at her covers. What do her covers look like? Because if her covers look like that, her audience is going to be used to covers, or any type of book information is going to look similar to hers. And if you look at hers, a lot of them have suitcases. A lot of women's fiction have suitcases on them. So that's when I was like, well, find a picture of a woman with a suitcase. And we found a really great picture of a woman with a suitcase that I was like, that would draw my attention. I would want to figure out what that is. So if you're struggling to know what, like some people have text and maybe some vector pictures on their cover, so they don't really have a set picture. Figure out what your audience is going to be looking for in terms of if you're targeting other authors, because they're going to know, because especially if you say, if you like books by Debbie Macumber, you're going to love my book, blah, blah, blah. Well, don't say that, but you're going to love this brand new release from debut author, blah, blah, blah. Because I think people are going to associate those two things a lot better for coming up with a picture.
And one other thing I took away from Sky Warren's class, which was awesome, is she will run different ad copies, as a test. And the one that performs the best, she will take that ad copy and put it on her book description, because that's performing really well in clicks. And she also likes to test out different cover images on her ads. And the one that gets the most clicks, that's what she'll use on her next book cover. So you can also use those Facebook ads to test the market a little bit and see what's doing well for you on your page.
Wow, super cool. Amy, do we have some questions over on the YouTube live feed?
Oh, she gave that to me.
Oh, Victory.
Sorry, because she's running the thing, so she didn't want to.
We have several, so.
Okay, yeah, we do have some. So we have, let's see, Kristen said, would you suggest waiting to test multiple ads until you have good amounts of different books to sell? Would that help mitigate the costs? What do you think, Amy?
Well, I ran Facebook ads on one book, and I was doing it to learn how to do Facebook ads. So as long as I was breaking even, then I was okay, with the idea that I wasn't going to make the money that I was making this month. I wasn't going to get till 60 days out. So keep that in mind as well. So it just kind of depends on where you're at. I think you're not just a one book author. So I think any visibility from any group is going to be beneficial at any time. So if you find a group on Facebook that's used to seeing your books, or who have clicked on your books, and you get a new book out, you can target that audience again with your new book, and you'll get clicks. So it just depends on where your budget is. Is it helpful? Yes. Will you make money? Probably not as much as if you had read through, because that's where you're going to get a lot of your money. Victorine said the Sky person, she targets her free books, and then she gets read through for the rest of her series. So it just kind of depends on where you're at. A $5 ad every day for 30 days is how much? I don't know. How much is that?
$150.
$150 as your marketing budget. I mean, as an author is pretty low compared to what other companies, obviously they're bigger companies, pay for marketing. They pay to get in front of people and to show people who they are. So it kind of depends on how you're looking at it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, really, marketing costs for authors are really, low compared to what a lot of, entrepreneurs and new businesses sink into advertising their business. But at the same time, you got to figure out like what your product line is, and I think that if you only have one book out and it's just not selling and it's just not selling, and Facebook ads aren't doing it, don't keep sinking money into this one book. And that's where we always go back to write a lot of books, get more out there, get books coming out quickly, and try to analyze, ways to make those books more marketable as you're doing it, because it might just be that your product isn't moving through Facebook ads because, like we said, there's something about your product that needs to be addressed too. So, I mean, that's where we all got to be careful. But I think that there's definitely more, value to Facebook ad for somebody who has a series, who has a backlist, that kind of thing.
You can also utilize the back matter of your book. Even if you just have one book, make sure you have a sign up for your newsletter in the back of that, so that even if you are spending Facebook ads just to sell one book, you're also getting newsletter subscriptions and killing two birds with one stone.
I was going to say something else. I can't remember what it was, though. I totally lost my train of thought. Sorry.
We do have another question. Danielle asked, not sure if you've already covered this, but what program do you use to create your ads?
So Facebook will create it for you. So I do everything they say. Maybe you're talking about the actual ad copy, which is the image. And if you're going to write and put text on, Facebook hates text on images.
Yeah, they do.
And the more text that's on it, the more they won't show it.
Yeah.
There is I can't even think of what it's called, but there's a kind of like a program you can run it through. It's from Facebook, where you can say, here's my image, what do you think? And Facebook will give you a scale and say, yeah, no, Facebook's never going to show this, don't put it up there. Or they'll give you the green light and say, yeah, this ad will run as normal. So you can put, like, I have done a picture with a picture, and then the tiny book in the corner is like a 3D image of my book. And then one or two lines, maybe 3 words or something on there. You can do something like that, and Facebook's okay with it. But I wouldn't even worry about it. Oh, I remembered what I was going to say. Piggybacking off of what Michelle said, you can spend a ton of time researching how to do Facebook ads, and you will waste a lot of time on how to do it. It's great marketing tool, but if it's taking away from your writing your next book is really the best. I hit $10,000 last month, and I ran very little ads on AMS or Facebook, because my best tool is writing more books. So if you're asking me, and maybe this will track what I said before, if you're asking me, should I focus on a Facebook ad for my one book, or should I write more books? Write more books. Don't worry about Facebook ads right now. You can do some research in but if it's taking a time, and it will take for me personally, and I was kind of doing it all on my own, trying to figure it out myself, it took a lot of time away from my writing. So make sure that that's where your priority is at the moment.
So one of the things I did learn today is that there are tools or programs you can purchase to do Facebook ad creations, and there are also companies that you can hire to do it for you. And I saw this one lady who actually owns a Facebook company, like a company that does marketing, and Facebook ads are part of their package. She said that a good rule of thumb that she kind of goes by with her authors is that if you are spending less than $1,000 a month on Facebook ads, then if that's kind of like where your budget is, under $1,000, then none of those things make sense for you. If you're starting to really increase how much you're spending on Facebook ads, and it's becoming something that is much more of an investment, then she recommends, maybe that's when you start looking into some of these other more, either professional options where you have a team that, does it for you, or you have these kind of software tools that can help to minimize the time you're spending on it. So I don't know if that's helpful, but that's one thing that I thought was an interesting tool. Okay, so
We have one more
I
question.
was gonna say there's one more, and then we'll go on to our closing comments.
Melissa says, how large of a Facebook ad budget would you suggest for first book versus third book in the series? So I would say play around with, like, you could do as little as $5 a day and see if that's making a difference in your sales. If it's selling the book, you can slowly increase that, and then you can go as high as you can if it's still selling the book and you're still making money. You know, my first book took off, sold 150,000 copies. So with that book, I could have, you know, I didn't advertise it at all, but I could have put some money into advertising that, and it would have even helped me retire. So I would say try it. You can try small and scale up if it's working.
Yeah, just always be careful about, you know, like what you have in your pocket. Be sure you have money to spend on it now, and don't rely on being able to get your royalties paid for it, because there's that 2-month lag. And that's just with Amazon and other retailers. It's bigger lag sometimes like that. Okay, so I think that we've covered Facebook ads pretty well for an hour-long show, even though we always go over an hour. So we just have a couple of fun things before we get off of here. Next week we're going to be having it is next week, right? It's August 2nd. We're gonna have Elena Johnson on talking about her launch strategy, which she does do things differently than we have done. And we always say, let's learn as much as we can. Let's see what's working out there. And there's always something to learn. So we're going to bring her on and see what she's got to say, because she is very successful, and that's undeniable. So we're really excited to have her on, and we hope you'll tune in. And then we also have our contest announcements to make. So do you guys want to go and say who won your prize?
Sure, I'll start. All right, I went to random.org and it picked a number for me, and the winner of my first chapter critique is Gussie Fick. So congratulations, Gussie. I will post my email up on the group if you don't have it, and you can email me your first chapter whenever you're ready. So it doesn't have to be right away, but anytime.
Yay,
Congratulations.
Gussie. That was a highly coveted prize. And so is Amy's. Amy's, who won yours?
So I decided to give away 2 because blurbs and ad copy aren't as much work as an entire chapter. So my first one will be Pam Humphrey, and the second one is Kelsey Stutling. So what I need you to do, I'll just PM you guys and let you know that you won. Send me your blurbs and ad copy. So that would basically be what you're going to write for your Amazon ad or what you're going to write for your Facebook ad. And if you wanted to try Facebook ads and you wanted to get my opinion on photos, I will give you that as well. So yeah, congratulations.
Yay. And so I did Judy's. I did a random drawing for hers. And Julia Harney Stamps won Judy's YA first chapter critique. So congratulations, Julia. Judy is gone on vacation, but she's going to get in touch with you as soon as she's back. You have a week or two before you hear from her, so you can start getting your chapter ready for critique. And the winner of my contest, which was a first chapter critique for any genre, is Janelle Lawyer. Lawyer. I'm not sure I'm saying your name right at all, but Lawer. So, anyways, Janelle, I'm excited to get your chapter and get you some feedback on that. So we are so excited. We, for those of you who don't know what this is, we have 1,000 members on our Facebook group, and so we decided to do a giveaway for some critiques as sort of a celebration of getting our members up that high. So that's what that was all about. Congratulations to all the winners. If you're not currently a member of our Facebook group, go ahead and check us out over there. We love to have people join us. So that's all we got going on for tonight. We're super excited you were all here and look forward to visiting with you and bringing you all the new and exciting things that we're learning. So thanks for staying up late with us. Good night.
Good night.